Welcome to this presentation where I will introduce the 2023 application form for applying for TIThe Pathway 1 funding. This presentation will cover completing the application form and addressing the qualitative questions. The application form can be accessed via the TIThe website. Go on to www.tithe.wales, select Apply for Funding in the top right corner of your screen, select your sector and then select Pathway 1 Mobility of Participants. If you scroll down to the bottom of the screen, you will see a table of resources, and within that table you will see a link to access the application form. This is the first page of the Pathway 1 application form. The form consists of 9 pages. This first page, Guidance Notes on Completing Your Application Form, contains guidance on completing and navigating the form, as well as links to the resources that will support you in completing your application. Please make sure that you click on the Finish Later link at any time that you are leaving the form to ensure that your work is saved. This will save your work in progress and generate a link so that you can return to your application form at a later stage. To move to the next stage, click Next. Please ensure to use these Next and Previous buttons to move through the form rather than your browser's forward and back buttons, as this will take you out of the form. The first question in the form concerns the eligibility of the applying organisation. All applicants must submit their eligibility checklist before submitting the application form. If you have previously applied for TIThe funding and have completed and passed the eligibility check, you will be asked to confirm one of the following statements. No policies or procedures, including finance and safeguarding, have changed since the last check. In this case, you will not be required to fill out the checklist for this round of funding unless you are contacted by TIThe directly. If you select that there have been changes made to some policies since the last check, this will require you to complete the eligibility checklist. The checklist is completed by a similar form, and links to the forms can be found either on the website within the table of application resources or within this question of the application form, as you can see on the screen. Next, you will be asked to input your organisation's details. This includes the main address, contact person, legal representative and chief finance officer details, and also your project's duration and whether you are applying on behalf of a consortium. We'll now move on to looking at the qualitative questions that must be answered as part of the application. Before you begin, please refer to the Qualitative Questions Support document, which can be accessed from the table of resources on the TIThe website and also from page 1 of the application form. This document details the qualitative questions that you will find in the application form, together with the assessment criteria applications will be assessed against. The aim of this document is to give you sight of the questions prior to completing the form, and therefore enables you to write your responses offline and to then copy and paste them into the online forms for submission. We'd highly recommend doing this in case of any technical difficulties. You will have your answers saved in a Word document. The relevant assessment criteria for each section is provided so you can understand how the applications will be assessed and ensure you've included sufficient information for each question in order to meet the criteria. The document also expands on the questions that are being asked so that you know what is expected in your answers for each question. The first set of qualitative questions will cover the project summary and project objectives and implementation. This section consists of 8 mandatory questions. Firstly, please provide a summary of your project. This question is limited to 2,500 characters. Please ensure that it gives a brief, clear overview of your project's objectives, activities and participants. Please ensure your answer is comprehensive and clear, and it is also important that this summary highlights the benefit of your project to the participants. The next 7 questions focus in more detail on the project as a whole. Each question has some additional help text to further explain the question and what we need the answer to cover. To open this, click the More Info button underneath the question, which you can see on the slide. All questions have a character limit of 5,000, except for the project summary. Please be succinct with your answers, however, as assessments are not based on the length of text provided. Your answers should include sufficient detail to demonstrate that the project has been well thought through, that you have a clear plan regarding destination countries and partnerships, and that your organisation will be able to manage the administration, planning and monitoring of the project to a high standard. We will now look at each of the qualitative questions in more detail and go over what is expected within your answers. So the first question in this section asks, what are the overall aims and objectives of the project, and how does the project link with your organisation or consortium strategy and priorities? What we're looking for here is for you to explain clearly how the project will address the needs of your organisation, staff and learners. Please provide practical examples where possible. Explain how the project will increase your organisation's international scope. Explain how your project is relevant to TIFE's main aims. And explain the value of the international activity to your organisation. If you're applying on behalf of a consortium, you need to clearly demonstrate the relevance and benefits of project delivery via a consortium. The next question asks about your project's key destination countries, partner organisation and approach to international partnerships. So please clearly explain here why you have chosen the particular country and or partner to work with. Explain if you have existing partnerships in the country or countries that you're proposing to visit. If so, consider what makes them suitable partners for the project and the different activities. If you don't have partners in place yet, explain what kind of partners you are looking to work with and why. Explain how you will or have identified your partners and how you will engage them. If you have plans to expand your international partners throughout the project, please include details. Next question covers how your organisation or consortium will coordinate and support inward mobility from international partners to be hosted at your organisation if applicable. If you are applying for inward mobilities, explain how you will target international partners and how you will select participants and what support you will provide during the mobility. Please outline the administrative capacity of your organisation and the processes to manage the project and the grant funding. Consider how you will manage the different aspects and phases of the project, from planning and preparation to management of operational delivery, communication and cooperation with partners, financial management and compliance, risk management, monitoring, record keeping and reporting. Cover what staff resources are or will be in place to achieve this, and explain how you plan on managing payments to your participants, including to inward mobility participants from external partners, if relevant. If you're applying on behalf of a consortium, detail your organisation and your partners' respective responsibilities. You will be asked how you will monitor the progress of your project's activities and measure the success of your project overall and ensure learning is shared. So consider here how you will monitor the mobilities and record individual participants. How will you gather feedback from participants? How will you assess the quality of outcomes and have them formally recognised? And how will you evaluate the impact and benefits of the project for learners, staff and the organisations, and share findings, including lessons learned? You will be asked to consider what you think the main risks to the delivery of the project are and how you will actively manage them. So examples of this could include any travel restrictions, challenges with partners, recruitment of participants. Detail this for both outward and inward mobilities where appropriate. The final question in this section is how will you ensure appropriate duty of care measures are in place during outward and inward mobilities? How will you ensure that any partner organisations provide a supportive environment for all participants? Answers to this question should detail how and what measures your organisation will take to ensure the safeguarding and duty of care of participants. This should include both what your organisation and your partner organisations will do. Where you don't yet have a partner organisation in place, please detail how you'll select and work with the partner to ensure these standards are met and what your expectations of them will be. All applications are assessed externally by a pool of external assessors. This slide contains useful tips from our assessors for you to consider when answering your questions in the section. Think about how your project connects to your organisation's wider strategy, as well as Welsh Government priorities and Tithe's main aims. Think about how you will make the most of the international exchange. Are the planned activities likely to result in the change and learning you're hoping to gain? Consider providing a practical needs analysis to demonstrate the project's relevance. It may take into consideration individual, organisational or sectoral needs. Think about what is the benefit of working on your project idea with international partners rather than locally or nationally. What added value does the international perspective or experience bring? Provide practical examples, for instance, illustrate the added value that the partners will bring to the project, as well as their staffing, facilities and any other relevant prior experience. What structures can be put in place before, during or after the mobility to guide learning, encourage communication and support reflection? Think about how distance or online learning can complement the face-to-face exchange. We'll now move on to look at the project's activities. To complete this section, simply select the mobility activities you intend to undertake as part of your project. This will bring up the available activities. You can select learner activities, staff activities, or both of these options. At least one activity and one sub-activity must be selected. Each sub-activity will open further quantitative and qualitative questions. Please provide as much detail as possible in your answers, as answering these questions as thoroughly as you can will justify your budget request, which you will input later on in the form. Activities for learners include group mobilities, individual mobilities and virtual group exchanges. And for staff, teaching placements and job shadowing, training courses and professional development, system development projects and preparatory visits. For each selected activity, the following 2 questions must be addressed. Explain why you have chosen to apply for the particular type of mobility, for example, individual mobilities or group mobilities. Explain the key aims and objectives of the activity. The activity should be clearly set out, well defined, and should meet the needs of the applying organisation. Detail what learning and development outcomes you are hoping the participants will achieve. Explain how the activity adds value to existing learning opportunities for learners and staff. Ensure that you clearly justify why the planned activities have been chosen and how they link to the values and strategic objectives of your organisation and priorities of Tithe. Explain how you will manage the planned activities. Explain how you will select the participants and what you expect them to achieve whilst on the visits. Provide details of the planning and support that will be put in place to ensure that activities are a success. And when planning your activities, ensure that they are realistic and manageable within the time frame of the project. We will now look at the last set of qualitative questions, which covers the cross-cutting commitments of Tithe. Tithe has 3 cross-cutting commitments which must be embedded into all projects. These are improving access for people with disabilities, additional learning needs from underrepresented groups and people from disadvantaged backgrounds, promoting the Welsh language and culture to participants visiting Wales as well as showcasing Wales to the world, encouraging sustainable travel in line with the Wellbeing of Future Generations Wales Act commitments to act as a globally responsible nation. We ask applicants to answer 4 mandatory questions. I will now cover a bit more about what is expected from each of these questions on the next slide, but if you are unsure about what we're looking for, please do get in touch with the team for support. This question asks you to explain how you will promote TITHE within your organisation or consortium and with partner organisations in an inclusive manner to ensure staff and learners, including those from underrepresented groups, are aware of the opportunities and feel supported to participate. You can explain here how you will ensure that potential participants, including those harder to reach, are made aware of the opportunities available. Outline clear channels of communication and appropriate ways of promoting the opportunities. Provide specific details of how you will do this, for example, through social media, youth group meetings, school assemblies and staff meetings. Clearly define your targeted underrepresented groups and explain the potential barriers to their participation and provide details of how to overcome them. The second question asks what specific measures you will take to support the participation of people with additional learning needs, those from disadvantaged backgrounds and those from other underrepresented groups throughout your project and its planned activities. Provide specific examples and details of the practical steps in ensuring that participants feel supported throughout the duration of the project. Consider the inclusion needs of your learners and staff and provide specific examples of how your projects will address them. Explain how you will support and encourage participants from a range of disadvantaged backgrounds and anticipate their needs. For example, who within the organisation is responsible for this, what duty of care arrangements will be put in place, and considerations that will be in place to adapt to the needs of the participants. Provide detailed information about the support offered to those with additional learning needs, particularly in the pre-application and pre-departure stages. The third question covers the specific measures your project will take to promote the Welsh language and culture, including raising the profile of Wales as an open, outward-looking and globally responsible nation. Think about how you will effectively promote the Welsh language and culture through your project's activities and provide examples. Examples of activities can include supporting incoming participants with access to free Welsh language learning materials or apps, or Welsh culture events during incoming mobilities, for example, visits to museums and learning about Welsh history. Finally, please explain what specific measures your project will take to encourage environmentally sustainable practices, including sustainable travel. Think about how you will incorporate environmentally sustainable and responsible practices, including clear and tangible plans for sustainable travel where appropriate, both at international and international level. Detail any environmental sustainability practices that are currently in place within your organisation and explain how you will embed these into your project. Before we move on to your project's budget and submitting your application, here are a few final notes from our assessors. Be clear on what you're hoping to achieve through the project. Ask someone unrelated to the project to check the general concept, as what might seem clear to you might not always be the case. Take advantage of the option to complete preparatory visits, especially with new international partners. They will really help make sure learner mobility goes smoothly and problems are addressed ahead of time. Don't focus only on the international exchange part of projects. Mobility is part of a project cycle and should spiral from planning and preparation into reflection, documentation and sharing. And finally, inward exchanges will involve and add to the overall project aim. One expert from a foreign partner could upskill many staff, or reciprocal exchanges can contribute to capacity building, learning and international relationships across your organisation. We will now look at the final pages of the application form. Please use the Grant Calculator tool to calculate the budget for the activities you are planning and input your total grant request into the budget page of the application form. The value entered on this page must match the value in the calculation tool, so please double check this before submitting. The tool can be downloaded from the list of resources on the TITHE website and also from page 1 of the application form. You must submit a copy of your grant calculator tool within 24 hours of the funding call deadline to inquiries@taith.wales. This is by the 17th of March 2023 at midday. Ensure that you read the privacy notice carefully, as it gives a detailed explanation of how we will use the information that you provide in the application form. You can access the TIFE programme's full privacy policy on our website. You will need to confirm that you have read the policy and understand how your personal data will be used. You will also be asked to confirm that you have completed the eligibility checklist. The legally authorised representative of the organisation will need to confirm the information provided in the application form before it is submitted. The next page is for your legal representative to complete. In order to save your progress and share the form with your legal representative or other colleagues, click on Finish Later at the bottom of the page. This will save your work in progress and open a new page with a generated link so you can return to your application later or share the link with colleagues. To access the link, you can either bookmark the page or send it to your email by entering your email address. If you want to continue working, click on Return to Survey. Please be aware that people who access the form via the generated link will have the same rights as you and can edit and submit the form. The link will expire at 12 noon on the deadline day of 16th of March. The declaration page is for your legal representative to confirm that the information in the form is correct. If you are not the legal representative, follow the steps on the previous slide to grant access for them to do this. The submission page is your last opportunity to check all aspects of your application before you submit. Once an application is submitted, it cannot be amended, so please double check all sections and make sure the answers and information are correct. Once you are satisfied that your application is ready to be submitted, you can click Finish at the bottom of the page. Once you have submitted, you will be given a unique application reference number along with the date and time the application was submitted. Please save this for future reference, as it will be your TIFE reference number to be quoted in any correspondence with the TIFE team. We also recommend that you download and keep a copy of your application. You can do this by clicking on the My Responses link. Please don't click on any other links, for example print or download PDF, as you won't then be able to return to this screen to download your responses. The application deadline is Thursday, 16th of March at midday. We will not be able to accept any applications received after this time. We'd highly recommend submitting in advance of the deadline, just in case of any technical difficulties with the form. We can then work with you to resolve them. Your grant calculator tool, supplier setup form and a recent bank statement should be submitted by midday on the 17th of March, the latest. We expect to be notifying applicants of the outcome of their applications in June, and successful projects will start in September. This presentation is part of a series of support sessions that we are running in the lead up to the deadline. Our next sessions take place on the 15th of February and will cover the grant calculation tool. Our contact details are included on this slide. Please do get in touch if you have any queries at all about completing your application.